So I'm not sure if it fits the the word keynote, but I'm going to try to weave together, if you can, knowing all the pain points that we go through in academia around curriculum development, around connecting industry with academia, around this heavy topic of innovation, around the heavy topics of equity and workforce development. And so, today I want to ground our conversation in what innovation actually looks like and why equity must be at the center of it. And I was listening to the previous discussions around this and what is really some of the issues that we face. So curriculum came up. And we know that it's a long process in governance, et cetera. But there are governance and institutions are written in such a way that you can be creative, right? If you have enough or the will to do so. So one of the things in the School of Business that we're now doing is we develop a School of Business curriculum committee. Is it a part of governance? No. We skipped that part, right? I hope we don't get in trouble for this. But we skipped that part, right? Because we said we know that it is long. It only happens, the governance process only happens monthly. But we needed something faster and larger discussions to take place outside of that process. And when it's done, we fit it into that process. So one of the things you have to do as academics, as academic leaders, and as thought provokers, and as wanting to create this change, that's why we're here, for our students in a faster and more equitable way, is to operate outside of that box. So where there are no committees, create your own ad hoc committees. Get a few colleagues together and start those discussions. Eventually, it all comes together. So in this School of Business Curriculum Committee, it actually meets tomorrow at 10 a.m. One of the things that we're discussing and putting back on the table are what does our Common Core look like or what it should look like. We're also discussing master's degree programs. So anyone who's heard of Medgar Evers College knows that the way our master plan was developed is that we don't have a master's degree program. We've been having this discussion for 20 years of how to change that master plan. We think we're on to something. And the reason we're on to something is because our innovation doesn't always have to be something new. The more things change, the more they stay the same. One of the things we're good at, and I imagine that's the ability of all of our institutions, is that we're good at community engagement. We're good at applied learning. So why change that? Innovate it in a new way that it fits today's model. Make all internships mandatory. That's one of the curriculum changes we made. It's mandatory. Who said it? We said it. The School of Business Curriculum Committee said it's mandatory. Another thing that we've been doing, we're developing laboratories. Yes, we followed the model of developing new concentrations in AI and cybersecurity because we didn't want to be, quote unquote, left behind. But other things that have to follow is that laboratory. What does that laboratory entail? Applied learning and community engagement. Because that's how you innovate and connect to the industry and the job market and give the students their first job opportunity. We have functioned for a long time outside of the funding streams. That's part of our siloed, unfortunately, our siloed areas. So what we have to do is connect more, and I hope everyone is doing this, more with the funding streams. These include your elected officials. These include your labor organizations, or we like to call them unions. These include other community partners or small businesses that can tie those things together. So those are some of the equity partners that we have at the table that can produce this. So for example, we know all all states have what they call small business funds or small business development centers, or the federal government have minority business development centers, or we named it to be intact with our communities coming online, Central Brooklyn resources for small businesses, where we'll partner with other organizations and use the students, right, to as apprentices or as part of the back offices to affect these different changes. So that's their internships. Again, something that we had on the books, something that is quote unquote old, but still innovative, because small businesses struggle and they need this assistance. What we'll do with our cybersecurity lab, we'll use the students, yes, as part of community engagement and as part of their internships or applied engagement, and also train nonprofits and small businesses to develop or to work against what they will experience as cybersecurity attacks. So these are things that will bring about equity when they apply for their first job or career. Will they have opportunities? Yes. Will they have experience? Yes, because we've used our way of getting around the governance, a School of Business Curriculum Committee, to get the ideas of the faculty member into participation, but to also use our community partners to inform us and to fund us, as well as to use the areas that are needed to participate in the community and to gain experience. This way, everyone benefits. The faculty benefits, the school benefits in terms of name recognition, the community benefits, and the students, our very partners, benefit, our consumers. We have also think tanks. Don't forget about your think tanks in your institutions. Faculty often have a very painful and labor-intensive job of doing research and coming up with new ideas. So we have to help them. So use your think tanks as ways of doing so. It counts because they're still doing research. They still have to submit these papers for presentations to journals, etc. Use what you have at your institutions to create this. We oftentimes go outside of our institutions to think that there are better ideas there, but we have what it takes here at the college, and you can use or hire graduate assistants, et cetera, to help with this assistance. So it is about a number of things. It's about creating pipelines, also from K through 12. What I'm hoping that we can do, and my colleague mentioned it here when she discussed the K through 12 pipeline and having that dual enrollment opportunity. We currently only have 3 of those for degree grants and programs for the pipeline opportunities at our institution. Why not expand it? Why not be, quote unquote, innovative and equity centered? Why keep it at the 3 of only education, computer science, and science? Why not expand it to include marketing? Why not expand it to include business analytics or computer information systems? Why not expand it to include all the other disciplines that are there to give our students head starts? They're taking this anyway. They're getting this exposure anyway. And some students leave right after high school or after an associate's degree. Give them a reason to stay. Pique their interest very early, and that's how you create equity-centered and innovative opportunities. And finally, I will only talk about developing additional infrastructure opportunities as much as you can. So a lot of times in our research, we talk about the data, which is very important. And one of the things I've had the pleasure of doing throughout the years is to study low-income populations and political participation. And again, the presentation before this really jogged my memory to go back and discuss low-income populations and political participation. And one of the things that I remember doing a great deal of research on is globalization and how it impacted low-income populations. And we always talked about low-income populations being left behind. And because people of African descent are heavily represented in low-income populations, those were always the target. So who are we talking about? The working poor, the non-working poor, those in poverty, because they're different, and a difference between urban and rural populations. And technology was the primary focus of why individuals are being left behind. So have that changed? It is a similar conversation we're having now with AI, right? Don't give it to them. Who's saying don't give it to them? Don't give it to them, but then they'll be left behind, right? And so we have to figure out a way how to, quote unquote, give it to them and equip them and show them how to use it. We were recently assessed by Middle States. We went through our reaccreditation this last week. We passed, thank God. But one of the questions that was posed that no one had an answer to was, what was your policy on AI? And the School of Business faculty member was the one to give the answer. And they said the same way how we tell students to use APA and MLA and everything on their research assignment. We use it as a research tool. So let's not hold back. Give them the answer. Give them the feedback that they need. Why? We give it to them anyway. We use rubrics. We use a number of things. So create the rubric that the students need for AI. Let them be ahead. Let them be equity-centered and receive that equity and allow them to innovate. And then finally, I just want to say that let's bring all of these things together, because we are at Medgar College a school of access. So in the school of access, we get everything from those who have trouble, who are math challenged, who are English challenged, who are a number of different things, but we also get the students who excel in a number of different areas. So let's use these different technological tools, these different applied learning opportunities to level the playing field for all. Thank you.